Okay, here we go. We are on board the Rainier Club Car, and we are taking a ride out of the museum. Here we go. We are departing from track number 6. Wave to the people over there. And as we roll out of the building here, on board the lovely Rainier Club Car. Gotta make it look right there. Close the door. Cars like this, the end of the train, very rarely get to leave from the bumper like this. How fun is that? We're taking you on a ride on board the Rainier Club Car. It's been inside the museum getting its windows replaced, as you can see. And we'll show you those in a few minutes. But first we're just going to enjoy this ride as the Rainier Club's view is of the gigantic Malley inside the train museum. Take a look at that.
And Orphan, excuse me, the Rainier Club is just starting out the door.
You're hearing the train crews discussing over the radio the movement.
Nice and easy. We got about, let's say, 15 feet we're going to touch. That's a nice speed. Just keep it over.
And now, with half of the car sticking outside the building, we depart into the great world here, and it is going to get cold as we depart from the Lake Superior Railroad Museum. This is an interesting shot here, where we can see down. You can see my reflection there, but you can see all the way to the end of the bumper and the outside world here. Now, total mess in here. We are a work in progress. As I mentioned, I was going to share that with you. Taking a look around, we have some fresh upholstery on some chairs that just recently got delivered. We reupholstered them to match the previous upholstery that was on there. And then this whole room will eventually get refilled with all of the lounge car seats that are meant to be here, but they are currently not in here, of course, because we're doing all the work on the windows. And by we, I can take no credit. There's some very hardworking volunteers that are taking care of those windows and getting them replaced. Outside the window here is the beautiful Silver Club Dome car. And take a look at the other side of the lounge here, where we see more of the seats missing and the tables coming out, and then all of these beautiful new windows that are going to go into those holes. Now, I gotta say, these cars were designed to be air conditioned and streamlined and everything else, but it's pretty cool having the windows open. I can't say I would hate having open air, at least while it's not raining or snowing, but it's pretty cool. We've stopped here briefly. We're actually just rearranging things and gonna move the Rainier Club onto a different track inside the museum. So we're flipping cameras here, and we switched back over to me, and I got mask off as we are now outside. So policy states if you're outside, and you can pass without the mask here. And plus I'm all alone here inside the beautiful Rainier Club Car, except for you, who's here along with me, checking things out as we back out of the museum. We're gonna look at, there's the 4211, another cool project going on right now. And we can hang our head out the window here because there's no windows. We are re-bricking this whole area here through a very generous donor. He is going to have this re-bricked, and you can see some new electrical outlets as we pass by, right? Let's see, where are they? Right over there. Some new electrical outlets, and then check this out. Brand new beautiful LED lighting underneath the platform will help light up this area. If anybody's been here before at the Lake Superior Railroad Museum, you'll know that this is normally kind of like underneath this parking ramp. It's dark and dingy, and we're working on adding some lighting, cleaning up that brickwork, which is going to be taken care of later this spring. And then we will have a cool new outdoor patio area, which is a fun new addition to the museum. We are witnessing the separation of our train as that caboose, Mr. Tim Shandell, our curator, takes the caboose with as they drift away here to the other track. And what we're doing here is just rearranging a bunch of stuff in the museum so that that caboose will be actually where we were at the front bumper eventually. Mainly because this car is going to continue getting work on and eventually work its way back out of the building to be put in use. And of course, that we want to be able to have easy access to it. Meanwhile, we actually have a cool little photo shoot going on coming up later this week. We're doing some promo photos in the museum, and the photographer didn't really particularly love the green car with the open windows and all the construction going on. We're going to put the caboose there, which will look certainly a lot better. And we're going to rearrange things a little bit. Just a quick little switch move, and I hope you're enjoying this little get on board the train here. We're standing in the vestibule of the Rainier Club right now, and right behind me is the back hall. So now is a great time for a tour since we have some light. Everything is under construction, so please keep that in mind. There's a brief little bathroom there in the toilet area, and we'll go down this hallway down the Rainier Club, and in each of these staterooms, A, B, C, D, and E, we can see inside. We have the bedrooms of the sleeping car called the Rainier Club, number 390 from the North Coast Limited, which was the name of a train that ran on the Northern Pacific Railway. And the Northern Pacific Railway ran the North Coast Limited between Chicago and Seattle for many, many years until the great merger of the Great Northern and the Northern Pacific Railway. And then they did this thing where they combined it with the Empire Builder, North Coast Limited, and eventually just became the Empire Builder with Amtrak that we have today. So you can still ride roughly the same route, some of the original NP track. Anyway, kitchen here, it's in great shape. It's just a little messy right now because it's been out of service for a little while as we repaint and get the car all ready for its upcoming summers. Some very generous donors made this whole paint job possible, and that's what we are really celebrating is this beautiful paint job here. And the paint job got redone over the past couple years anyway. It took a little time to get everything in order. It's some really, really primo paint. It's not just your average deck paint. So, and plus it's a little complicated to have the two-tone green and whatnot. So we're happy to have that done. Working on the reupholstery of all of these chairs in the lounge. And we're going to replace certain sections of the carpet. I believe this section might be staying just as is. I can't say for sure. So I wish I could tell you. But we are going to continue the ride here today. Well, we look over on this other track. Remember that caboose that we saw cut off is now getting cut off over there. And we're going to put the car Northland with this car. So we're going to actually switch our rides here. And we're going to change it up. So come along with me. Okay, flip-flopped. Here comes the car Northland after a little safety stop. They are coming on in for a joint. We're just going to hang right here in the nice safe confines of our vestibule as the car Northland couples up to us. Almost there. A little nudge. It's a big heavy car and it has air on it. The car Northland has 100 tons that car weighs. It has a completely concrete flooring. So that is the car Northland. Also a tail car. And the car Northland was designed as a tail car. You can see this beautiful brass, freshly polished by our hardworking maintenance crews. A little bit of said polish is still over there. My own wedding. We did a toast off the back of that red carpet there and hung out in that lounge and got our champagne. And that's where the car Northland is. So it's kind of a goofy lineup here that we're going for. However, it's all just in the name of progress of getting the two cars in the museum so we can continue working on them over the winter here, which hopefully is coming to an end. We have hopped off the car now. We just jumped out of that door. We got our two tail cars lined up here, and they're going in for a joint with that locomotive, which is the 192. Great story in itself. One of our most popular video museum tours that we did was on the 192, and you should check that out. Be sure to check for a link in the description below for that great video about the NW5, a very unique locomotive and one of the only one of its kind still operating anyway. I believe there is one more on a freight line or commuter line or something in Boston that is functional, we'll say. Anyway, we got the Rainier Club here. It only works because it's not raining or snowing, because those windows are wide open to the world, and Josh is a little chilly right now, but this is one premier train if there ever was one. We're back outside now and got a couple of people around here. Even though we're outside, it's best to keep masked up, you know, so COVID friendly world that we are here. We're out in the train yard, and I'm keeping my distance here as the crews do their thing and make their work happen. And then we're going to eventually work our way over and ride that caboose in. So we're listening along here with the old radio and just following along things as they get things moving. And we eventually work our way onto the DWP caboose, which is down there. And then we have the 192 here in the background. Of course, flip-flop because I'm on the selfie camera. Keep on doing our job. Okay, we are now on a caboose. The DWP caboose, one of very few wooden cabooses. There's a reason why that structure is there, and we'll tell you that story another day. If you know why that structure is there, please feel free to leave it in the description. Cabooses were notorious for being at the end of a train, and slack action would cause somebody to get a little whiplash on the back of the train, and that is what we're going to be careful about. We approach the track 6-7 switch, and we're eventually going to shove our way into the depot on this lovely black platform here. The 6-7 switch is this one over here. That will lead us back into our home right there, the Duluth depot, waiting for us at the bumper of track 6. We will ride in the cupola, I think, but let's just take a quick watch of the switch being aligned. There's the switch lined up for us. We are going to go backing in to the depot. Okay, and now we are going to work our way up the cupola, and what a fun place to ride a shove. In today's modern world, one of the very few places that cabooses are still in use is here on the back end of a train when they have to do a shove move. Okay, so at once upon a time, a caboose was used kind of as a mobile little cabin, and there was a desk down there, and the conductor would do paperwork and things like that on waybills. However, in the modern world, of course, that's a lot of electronic work on the computers and things like that for keeping track of freight. Sorry, I got distracted. But one of the few places that cabooses are still used to this day is for shove moves. So we're going to switch views here, and you can see that this provides a very good spot for conductors, switchmen alike, or train buffs like you watching this video along with me, who's just here for the fun of the ride and of course to bring this to you. It's a good place to ride because you can be on the very end point of a long train, and sometimes shove moves happen over a great distance, so you have a nice place to sit. Some cabooses come complete with an air brake. That's an air brake control system, and there's even a little gauge. This particular one is not currently in use, so you can see how you can move it back and forth, and that would actually apply air brakes to the train if necessary. However, we also have these nifty radio devices where you can actually talk with the locomotive and they can set brakes accordingly as well. So we are doing the shove here into the beautiful Duluth depot. There we have the Hustle Muscle number 400. Very cool SD45 locomotive. Along with one other SD45 that we're just passing, the Northern Pacific 3617. A pair of SD45. Big, heavy, strong pulling engines. that were meant to pull long freight trains. However, here they are today, pulling little passenger trains and things on the excursion lines of the North Shore Scenic Railroad.
We are about one coach length from the building. I think I'll stop you at the door and just bring me in by hand. Right to that, one to the door.
Alright, our conductor was riding on the side here. That's Mr. Shandell, and he's working our way into the building here. Okay, so really cool, and for me personally, remember how we were talking about the wedding there? The last time I got to see this view, I was coming back from our wedding ceremony as we backed into the Duluth depot. And here we are, riding in the back of the caboose. We're on board DWP caboose, and we are shoving on into the depot. And right down there is the bumper where we started this whole thing. You can hear the train kind of bumping and grinding here as we come in, riding the brakes nice and gently. It's actually kind of interesting. It looks like we're moving a little faster, I think, than we are, because we are creeping along into the building. We don't want to scratch the paint on any of these important artifacts. We're inside the Lake Superior Railroad Museum again. There's the Malley that we saw on our way out. In the reverse angle, we are on the 1 and the 2, and these two cars are working their way in. A little demonstration of the couplers. As you can see, a little bit of coasting action, a little bit of slack between them, as don't have air. These are historic cars, and the DWP caboose is pretty old to be charging the air brake system. Coming up on the old bumper here. And now arrived. Here we are at track 6, and we're gonna go up here and set the handbrakes. The caboose has handbrakes. That is not a steering wheel, and that little chain connects to there. So let's set the handbrake. Okay, here we go. Got it. And we got our handbrake set. There's the Rainier Club and the car Northland back there, so it can continue to get its work done. We switch sides here, and we see the caboose now at the front of the museum. Beautiful thing. And I thank you so much for joining me here on this little super short train ride adventure, switching out the Lake Superior Railroad Museum. A lot of people don't know how much goes into moving these things around. Those two guys anyway are volunteering their time to make this possible, so we can have a nice beautiful picture like that of the caboose. People can climb up there and tour around it next to the big 2435. Lake Superior Railroad Museum open April 1st, and then 7 days a week from there on out, forever and ever. Even open Easter this year, so that's pretty exciting. And I thank you so much for joining me today. Visit duluthtrains.com/YouTube to watch all of our different videos. duluthtrains.com/YouTube, and you can see all the video tours of every single piece of in the entire collection of the Lake Superior Railroad Museum. And then come ride our trains starting May 21st, all summer and fall. Again, thanks so much. duluthtrains.com. See you again soon.